Hey there, Chris Verselli here. Thanks a lot for stopping by my blog and checking out video number 5 in my 7-part series called Helpful, Practical, and Easy to Implement Strategies for Maintaining a Healthy Back. Up until this point, we've been talking about some things that are more or less kind of lifestyle changes. I've been talking about the importance of drinking water, the importance of getting more rest and recovery, the importance of maintaining proper posture, the importance of exercise, and also speaking a little bit about the muscle activation technique and how that will help make muscles better able to support the spine so that you're less likely to have spinal issues in the future. And what I want to talk about today is kind of a little bit different than what I've been talking about up until this point. It's a very, very, very simple strategy that you can begin to implement. It will take just a few minutes out of your day, really. Really more than anything, I want to kind of get across in this video the importance of doing this, because it is something that you will need to do consistently, although like I said, it only takes 30 seconds to a minute to actually do, and it will give you tremendous benefit. So I want to talk about a concept that I call reversing the pressure. And in earlier videos, I spoke about how the spine has these discs in between the vertebrae, and how those discs will get pressure put on them through our various activities, through sitting, through bending, through all that stuff. And the most dangerous thing for the disc is to get a whole lot of pressure built up on the front part. Because there's a gel-like substance inside that disc that will actually move to the opposite direction of where the pressure is being put on. So if you look at this up close, you see how the disc kind of encompasses this whole area between the two vertebrae. And if I bend this spine forward, can you see how there's pressure being taken off the back side of the disc, and there's more pressure being put on the front. Okay, so that will cause the gel-like substance inside, like I said, to start to move towards the back. And what can happen over time is that the disc can actually begin to stretch, and that means it's bulging. And if it does that over a long enough period of time, then it may actually tear, and that actually becomes a disc herniation. Now, both of those conditions, disc bulges and disc herniations, can be incredibly painful depending on the severity of them. And really all that is determined by whether or not the disc is actually impinging on a nerve. So if you look and see, maybe you'll be able to see from the side a little bit better. If you look and see where these nerves are, this is a nerve that comes off the spinal cord, and it goes through the periphery of the body, and that sits right behind the disc. So if you have a lot of pressure built up here and that moves that gel-like substance backwards, eventually it might stretch the disc and it will impinge on that nerve. That's when disc bulges and disc herniations become incredibly painful conditions. And they say statistically about 80% of people over the age of 30 have some degree of a disc bulge. Now, most of those people are without any symptom whatsoever, because just like I was speaking about this morning with one of my clients, if you have a disc, if you have a space behind that disc that's, let's say, 5 millimeters long, and that disc will have to come out 5 millimeters in order to touch that nerve, you could have a disc that's protruding 4.5 millimeters or 4 3/4 millimeters or 4.9 millimeters, and it might not actually be touching that nerve. So you're not going to actually feel any pain until it's been pushed out that little extra bit, and that's the proverbial straw that breaks the camel's back, where you bend down to pick something up or you do something relatively simple, and all of a sudden you throw your back out and you're in excruciating pain. So don't ever let yourself get to that point. Just realize that you may very well have one of these issues already, and you want to do whatever you can do to keep it from getting worse. And if you already have one of these issues, it's going to be even more critical for you to do, because this is going to help to, in some ways, start to reverse that issue. Granted that you're taking serious all the things I've spoken about up to this point, and you're beginning to implement those things as well. But this is a really important strategy to begin to implement, and I'll explain to you why. So So I talked about the whole reversing the pressure thing, which is what I call this. And so again, when you're bent forward like this, which is how we mostly are in our everyday life, we're kind of rounded forward like this, whether when we're sitting or when we're standing. And then also, bending over puts us in that position as well. Well, when we're in that position, like I said, there's a lot of pressure being put on the front part of the disc, which pushes that gel backwards. So to reverse the pressure, all you would do is you would go into the opposite position for an extended period of time, maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute. Maybe you can do this on kind of like an interval schedule. And you would actually start to put the pressure on the back part of the disc. That's going to actually help to move that gel back towards the center and, as I mentioned, reverse the pressure. So what does that look like? Well, if you're sitting for an extended period of time, let's say 30 minutes, 45 minutes, something like that, which really should be about the maximum amount of time that you're sitting on any given interval, because if you're sitting a lot longer than that, then you're building up a lot of pressure in those discs, and you really should decompress your spine a little bit by just standing up and walking around for a minute or two. But what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to kind of elevate your butt, so kind of sticking your butt out, and that kind of arches your lower back, and then you're going to just kind of arch your back, sticking your chest out, and that's going to extend your spine and put you into that opposite position. And most people that do this after they've been sitting for a little while really like the way that it feels, number one, because it just kind of feels like it's a good thing to do and feels very therapeutic. But also, they'll notice that like some of the stiffness may be reduced and stuff like that. But don't necessarily expect for there to be like an immediate change in something just by doing this one time. This is an ongoing thing, because every time that you sit and every time you're in a forward flex position, you're putting excessive pressure on the front part of the disc. So every single time you do that, you need to do something to reverse that pressure. And this is the easiest way to do that. It's just by pulling your butt up, arching your back, sticking your chest out, and just staying in this position. And what that's also going to do is it's going to kind of reverse the stretch on some of those connective tissues. It's going to reverse the stretch on the muscles. It's going to keep certain things from getting overly tight. And it's going to be a really helpful way to prevent some of these disc issues. So start implementing that right away. And please forward this to any friends or family members that you feel would benefit from it, because I really believe it's going to help some people. And there's not very many people doing this, so please let them know about this. So if you have any questions, you can email me at nonfictionfitness@hotmail.com. I'll be happy to take some time and respond to those. And if you see me in here, by all means, go ahead and ask me how to implement some of these strategies if you're having any trouble with that. I'd be happy to help you out that way as well. So until next time, reverse the pressure, offset disc bulges, offset disc herniations, be healthier, feel better, live better, and just be happy. God bless.